And hello and good morning. This is Bowls.tv, B-O-L-E-S, television. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Interesting show today. Lots of new things popping up, lots of interesting things to have a conversation about. And we're going into a long holiday weekend here in the Americas. Weather is going to be iffy and so-so, hot, stormy, good, bad. It doesn't matter. It's your last real vacation before the start of the real world in the fall and the end of summer. So right before we went on the air, I got an email that I thought was so interesting, I'm going to share it with you right now. And it's this. This looks really interesting. A Healthy Eats Cafe Nourish opens a location in Jersey City. And this is it. This is the Nourish storefront. Looks very nice, right? A vegan-friendly spot, originally founded in Brooklyn. Excuse me, 9 o'clock, hotboxing. Has opened a second cafe in Jersey City and has brought their clean breakfast and lunch dishes to the Bergen Lafayette neighborhood. Not close to us. I'll show you where it is. And you get very spoiled here in Jersey City because you're thinking, hey, everything happens around Journal Square. There's the Heights, there's downtown, there's the Newport Mall area. So when things aren't close to you in Journal Square, you get very upset. I'm sort of upset, but not terribly upset. But sort of upset. In the middle of the camera here. So Nourish is a popular healthy eats restaurant along Washington Ave in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn, has officially launched their newest outpost on 346 Communipaw Avenue. I'll show you where that is on the map in a minute. In the works since last year, the eatery aims to provide affordable and nutritious food that empowers and rejuvenates, with the circumflex on the U in Nourish symbolizing how their food lifts up diners instead of picking them up and throwing them down like fast food. And I guess these are some examples of the vegan Nourish food. Oh my. A vegan croissant. Now that's a rarity, really. Croissants usually take a lot of butter. Sometimes an egg to make it look good, taste good. Nourish obviously has figured it out. The cafe comes courtesy of founder Elijah Ba, who came to America at age 14 from Guinea in West Africa. Hey, Ba spent about a decade in the culinary industry before opening the Brooklyn Nourish in 2019, where he's been serving up a variety of premium roasted coffee, smoothies, and juices, partnered with breakfast, lunch options. Now that looks fantastic. This, I'm sure, is a portobello. That looks to me like spinach. This is clearly hummus with maybe some ginger pickles. Carrots, potatoes, oh my. And underneath it all, you can see there's what looks to be some brown rice. Oh boy, I'm getting hungry. What time is it? Standouts at Nourish include their signature make-your-own warm grain bowls with options of salmon, shrimp, and seasonal toppings like hummus, tempeh, or portobello mushrooms. Well, maybe the croissants are not vegan if they're offering salmon and shrimp. I thought this was a vegan eatery. Brunch options include acai bowls, avocado toast, oatmeal, and poached eggs. Can't have an egg. Are featured as a variety of kale, romaine, and arugula salad. So I guess it's sometimes vegan. Yeah, see, look right here. That's appears to be a fried egg on a croissant. That doesn't look so vegan. So, fun opportunities, but not a vegan restaurant. It's a restaurant that perhaps offers vegan options. And this is where it is, way down here, Communipaw Avenue. We live way over here in Journal Square. That is where Google Maps says that we live. And it is sort of maybe a little bit true. This appears to be Building 3. I think I'm the one who posted these on our business page. So this is Building 3. We live in Building 1. I'm sure it's a little higher than that now. And there's the Hilltop area, right? That's our neighborhood, Hilltop. And you come over here and you walk away. So it's a 36-minute walk, almost 2 miles. That, believe me, is probably an hour walk, because you cannot walk very quickly across all of these really high-speed, very dangerous streets and highways that are known as the Jersey City Thruway. I did that setting this up, and I've done it again. Well, now I've completely messed it up. But at least you saw what it was like. Now I think I'm going into outer space. That's what you love the wheel on your mouse, where you just sit here and it spins, right? You can make it click too, but I like the spin. But when you're in a view like this, and you spin a little too hard the wrong way, maybe we'll get it back. And you spin the wrong way. There we go. You're gonna pay for it. Don't touch the spin bar. If you need to get closer, go like this. So it's near the Liberty Science Center, which is a very nice area. Jersey City Hospital Medical Center, which is where we have been many times. Kind of far away. It looks close, but to get there is the problem. Another hospital up here, Christ Hospital. Journal Square area, very interesting. It's all very interesting and very dangerous. Because new places to eat that have delicious things, well, you just want to eat there all day. Okay, so the phrase is vegan friendly. Clever, right? Not vegan. We have vegan things, which is fine. I understand you can't really run a restaurant just by being vegan alone, unless that's your thing. And obviously they need more than that. Hey, what else is in the news? Oh no. Now this is sort of an interesting article that's not really a mainstream article. But the arguments are interesting because you hear a lot of chitter chatter. There's Jan Marie, what a joke, misleading. It is a little misleading. You think the whole thing's about a vegan restaurant, and then you get to the pictures, and the photographs are not really that. They're of croissants and eggs. The bowl looked great. That looked vegan, but the rest of it, a little disappointing. So I think, well, maybe take a walk down there and walk back, but it's just too far to walk. And probably, I bet, even though it's only 2 miles away, that, if you try to order it from DoorDash or Uber Eats, they would say, oh, that's too far. We can't go that far to deliver to you. And I understand why, because it's all a hectic, terrible maze. And people in this area tend to deliver DoorDash, Uber Eats, either by walking or riding a bicycle, or the e-bikes. Very few people use their car to do those sort of deliveries. And they just stay in a little neighborhood, like they stay in Hilltop, they stay in the Heights, and they just, walk around and earn $5 in a tip to bring people their food, which is very smart. It's an economy. So now we're going to have a little chat about NFTs and how people are getting all upset about it. And this small website is making an interesting argument that I'm going to share with you today. Non-fungible tokens, NFTs, have exploded in popularity over the past year, with everyone from celebrities to brands getting in on the action. However, it seems that interest in NFTs may have reached its peak, as the interest in NFTs has drastically decreased. According to data from StockApps.com, which I checked out as kind of a strange website, but okay, they're making an argument. Interest in NFTs fell to its lowest point ever at 14. I guess that's their ranking system. In the fourth week of August. This is a stark contrast to the interest in NFTs earlier this year, which reached its peak at 100, in the last week of January. So I guess they're using a scale of 100 is the best, and I guess 0 is the worst. So 14 is pretty bad. But January, start of the year, the Super Bowl was coming, lots of crypto ads. People got in, they bought, they didn't know what they were buying. They got scared, they ran away, they chickened out, and now this is the aftermath of it. It seems that interest has waned in NFTs significantly. The crypto meltdown could be one reason why interest has decreased, as many people lost money in the market crash. It's also possible that the novelty of NFTs has worn off. Regarding the number of searches for the term NFT, China tops the list under interest by area. Hong Kong follows it in the second position, and Singapore is in the third spot. Very interesting of where the interest in NFTs is now being populated. Nigeria and Taiwan take the fourth and fifth positions, respectively. US, Canada, New Zealand, and Cyprus users continue to find NFT information interesting, and also showing interest in non-fungible tokens are Pakistan, Nigeria, and South African citizens. Google Trends, NFT interest over time, January 100 to 14. So, you can see the fall really started like in March, right here's the Super Bowl, February. Big interest, building up, crypto, let's get into it, let's make some money. Oh, we didn't make any money. Well, maybe we'll make some money. We're not making any money. Are NFTs still significant? The NFT market remains significant in the context of the geopolitical crisis, despite the general decline in interest. For instance, to maintain its military effort, Ukraine is actively gathering money through its NFTs. Yay! It released its assortment of NFTs for this reason. Besides, a charity performed called Ukraine's Angels and an NFT collection in support of Ukraine were previously introduced by the Ukrainian blockchain developer Elephants Lab. And our friend Alexander is trying to stay alive in Ukraine and feed his family and also support the war effort by buying materials for the front line. He sells and creates NFTs. So it is a very interesting source of economically supporting someone without directly supporting them. It's all managed on the blockchain. What is the future of NFTs? Well, this person writes, it's not easy to establish that NFTs, if they're a fad, if they are a trend, artists believe NFTs are the next form of monetization. However, some experts believe that NFTs are a bubble that's about to pop. The prices of virtual assets have been highly volatile, and people are trying to figure out their way around the industry, which is all good. The current situation presents an opportunity for long-term investors. Now, this is all very curious and interesting. Now, NFTs, I like NFTs, and they've started as a form of art. And yesterday we discussed NFT avatars on Reddit that they're now giving away. There is some pushback from the Reddit community that is very against a lot of them, these NFTs, but other people are very supportive. They like getting a free NFT. They like being able to purchase NFTs. Some people are complaining, on Reddit, everybody has an NFT now and it's full of blockchain information and The messages are loading slower because of this NFTs being used as avatars. I don't really believe any of that. You can also set up a wallet to connect to Reddit and have your NFTs available as you wish. They're very fun and they're very nice to have. Here's another issue. So, since the beginning of these NFTs, it's really been about artwork. And as some people on the internet say, oh, you're paying hundreds of dollars for a JPEG or a movie file. Well, yes, you are, but you're also claiming provenance and ownership of that bit of information that is directly attributable to you via contract that is discoverable on the blockchain. That's not a bad thing. You want to collect art? You want to be a collector? You have things that you can show. These are the things that I own. This is how much I paid for them. These things were airdropped to me. And this is my taste. This is my collection. So all of that is where NFTs have been. Now, the problem lately is this. You have some mainstream artists who found early success selling their NFTs for top dollar. Let's say 1 Ethereum. So 6 months ago, they could sell an NFT for 1 Ethereum, 1 ETH, make $3,000. However, excuse me, the price of Ethereum is now, let's say, half of that. $1,500. So these artists don't want to lose money on the art that they have created by taking half the price today that they were getting 6 months ago. They want $3,000. So in order for them to get the $3,000, instead of charging 1 Ethereum, they have to charge 2. And for the ordinary, everyday collector, you're saying to yourself as you're looking to purchase NFTs, wait a minute. The market has gone down. The market has corrected itself from 3,000 to 1,500. 1 Ethereum is worth $1,500. 6 months ago, this piece of artwork was selling for 3,000. Now, because of the economy of an NFT, it's now selling for half that price. I, as a collector, say, not me, but the collectors say collectively, why would I pay double today, $3,000, 2 ETH, where 6 months ago was only 1 ETH? And the artists say, well, my art is worth a certain amount of money, and I don't care what the market says. I don't care what the price of 1 Ethereum is. My price is $3,000. Take it or leave it. And the serious collectors are saying, I believe I'll leave it. I'm not paying that. We had an episode a couple of months ago where we were dealing with an NFT artist, and at the time where we were reviewing the work, there were 2 pieces set for us to review. One was worth 0.2 ETH, another one 0.3 ETH, so altogether half an ETH. And then as the project was ending, the artist said, well, I would like to have those purchased. Either send them back or I'll purchase them for the price of 1 ETH. We said, wait a minute. When this project started 2 months ago, your work was selling for 2 and 3, 5, half an ETH. Now you want to be paid double that, half an ETH to 1 ETH. And the artist said, well, I have to be fair to my original purchasers. And we thought, well, wait a minute, to be fair to original purchasers, you would charge what you were charging before. It's not the collector's fault that the price of Ethereum crashed. And it's not the fault of the artist either. But it's not up to the collector to make up the difference in the fall from 1 Ethereum to half an Ethereum. So we did not play that mathematical game, and everything was returned, everything's fine, everything's on board. But that's the problem that these established artists are going to have to deal with as the price of Ethereum fluctuates over time. Because I guarantee you this: if the price of Ethereum somehow magically rises to, let's say, $10,000 for 1 Ethereum, are these artists going to lower the price of their beloved artwork to 0.3 ETH, 0.333 ETH, to reflect the $3,000 price? Or are they going to continue to charge 1 Ethereum $10,000 because the market has changed to their advantage and against the collector? I think, in my experience with these advanced artists, they are going to continue to charge as much money as they possibly can. They're going to charge 1 Ethereum. They want 10,000 instead of 3,000. And that's fine. They can charge whatever they think the market will bear. But as we saw in the chart, the market is not bearing them anything anymore. It used to be 100, now it's 14. Are they adjusting? Are they going with the flow? Are they lowering their prices for now to match the demand and match the needs and to match the actual price set of what Ethereum is? And that's going to be a hard lesson for them to learn today, tomorrow, and into the future. It's going to be an interesting time. However, I can say this: NFTs aren't going anywhere because there's a lot of money in it. And as I've written in bowlesblogs.com and in my interview with the delightful Jana Marie Sweeney, NFTs are contracts. They are ways of protecting content that you own, be it music or teaching or a PDF or private tutoring or a musical or a song. And it is deliverable, trackable, royalty settable. Big business loves NFTs, and it has nothing at all to do with artwork. It has to do with provenance, ownership, tracking of inventory, and creating a long-term investment that is verifiable independently on the blockchain. You don't have to manage it. It's just there, and it's verifiable. So NFTs, if you get out of your mind that they're JPEGs with a contract, the idea of NFTs preserving and presenting information that is transacted between people is going to be a magnificent wonder. And that is the real 100%, 100 out of 100 future for an NFT. And now we take our first break, returning in a moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.tv, talking to you in a very tiny box. Now I'm fixing this. I like how this in the font goes over my image here, yet how this K is behind the chatters in our Discord channel. I love that. So it makes it go like this, on top of one side, under the other side. Neat! So now I'm going to go to our end screen. We're not ending, I'm just going to end screen so I can design this and see if I can make it look similar. Now that's in front of, okay, so I know how to fix that. But I have to change the color of this. I don't like the color. Let's go with the standard purple. We'll see. Oh, that's better. See you soon. Wah, wah. Now, how did we do that on our intermission screen? Okay. So this, we're going to change this color too. Yeah. Hello. Beautiful. How does it look on the big screen? Meow. Fantastical. I think that's changed. Love it. See you soon. I don't know if I like this font. Is there a different font we can use? Let's do Bylight. We don't like that font. It's Eris Medium, ugly. Franklin Gothic. Oof. We have to get a fun font like we had before. Gigi? Oh. That's almost Comic Sans. Yeah? That's terrifying. Oh, that's just that. Okay, we can't. I like the idea though, but oh my, that's off the scope. Here's Halogen Black. Not terrible, not terrific, but sort of acceptable maybe. Yosemite. Not a good look. You see the typewriter. Oh, you can't find a good typewriter font because you want something that's there but not there, like it has a bad ribbon or something. Gothic, ugh, ugly. Well, there's nothing like a lot of fun that we're having here. This is what we had. See you soon. This is Nami. We'll use this for now. See if we can make it a little bit bigger. Bigger, but not too big. Try to find the center and make it yours. I think it's good enough for now. It looks happy. You don't want the goodbye to be too sad. So hey, it's fun with fonts. You're on Bowles.tv. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. So we had an interesting conversation about NFTs. And our Discord server is always available. We have fun conversations there. I'm talking about a lot of things. Oh, I brought my green tea with me because I keep coughing. Maybe that will help get rid of our hot boxing. Not our hot pockets, but our hot boxing from our friendly neighbors. And if you don't know what hot boxing is, it's when they're smoking a lot of marijuana and it comes from their apartment into your apartment. Now, usually hot boxing is done in like a room, the same room where you have a bunch of smokers, bong hitters with closed doors, closed windows, and some people are smoking and the other people who are not smoking are just sitting there, and the people just sitting there get a contact high by being in the same room with the smokers. That's hot boxing. And it makes you crazy because there's nothing you can do about it. So what else is the news today? Well, this is in the news. And I don't even know where to begin with this. This Trump stuff is just, it's so awful and so delicious that you don't really know when to start or stop. Should I have another one? Should I keep clicking on the pages? Have I had enough? Should I go back to Twitter and refresh the page? Because it's just filled with stuff. And the problem is, as we're going to see in a minute, is whom do you trust? Who do you trust? What do you trust? Why do you trust? You think the big newspapers, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, they are there to sell you the truth, and they're not. They're there to sell you whatever story they want you to read. And journalists are conflicted. I learned the other day that Caitlin Collins, White House reporter for CNN, I believe she went to Alabama, got her start in the journalist industry working at the Daily Caller. Now, the Daily Caller is a very rough place to read and research. And some people say, well, that doesn't matter. She's a person. She's a free thinker. And I argue, well, it does matter where you start and what you believe and how you're able to tell a story. And that is all based on the cogent decision of a journalism student to say, yes, my very first job, I want to be at the Daily Caller. That is the reputation I want. That is what I want on my resume. And then she moves to CNN. Bigger name, bigger brand, but has the person changed? Probably not. Now here's Empty Wheel again. This is where you really go if you want to find what's going on actually in the world, especially with this Trump investigation. And she's had many stories this morning. She lives in Ireland and she gets up early and she's 5 hours ahead of us. So she writes while the rest of us are sleeping on the East Coast. And then we wake up to all these magnificent articles that you don't know where to begin. She has 3 of them this morning. And this is the latest one, the most interesting one. Because the DOJ filed their response to Trump's want for a special master at midnight. And she provided analysis of that. And now this is her latest analysis that the Trump attorneys may have to be not recused, but removed by the Department of Justice because they are perhaps going to be indicted themselves for lying to the court. Now that's a problem. And the issue is perhaps not only on the attorneys, but they have to rely on what their client tells them, what Donald Trump tells them. And if your client lies to you and then you go into court and you swear that it's true and the court finds out it's not true, you can be in some concern. And if the court then finds out later, well, I maybe thought it was true, but I had to protect my client. You can't do that. So here's a very interesting article from Marcy Wheeler. And she wants to look more closely at the actions of Evan Corcoran, one lawyer, described as counsel in last night's filing before Judge Eileen Cannon, and Christina Bobb, described as custodian of records surrounding the June 3 meeting at Mar-a-Lago. So those are the 2 attorneys that she's writing about now. The DOJ's filing describes how the Department of Justice subpoena on Trump with a return date of May 24. And then this is the big quote throughout the investigation, markings. The former president's counsel letter suggested they could comply by providing any responsive documents to the FBI at a place of their location. Then Marcy says the subpoena asked for all documents with classification marks and specified a bunch of classification marks, which suggests that the DOJ knows what they're looking for. And here's the quote from the response that they submitted to the court. Any and all documents, writings in the custody or control of Donald J. Trump and or the office of Donald J. Trump bearing classification markings, and then all the big list. And here, Marcy says, is what the markings mean. HSCP refers to a product of human intelligence. That's about a person, probably in jeopardy. HSC-O refers to an operation being conducted with human intelligence, people on the ground. TK refers to satellite collection. SI-G refers to intercepts from signals intelligence. FRD refers to former restricted data. That is, materials formerly protected under the Atomic Energy Act. This is serious stuff. At first, Trump stalled, asking for a delay, which DOJ initially refused and then granted. Then, on the evening of June 2nd, lawyer Corcoran contacted DOJ and told them, hey, show up the next day. The subpoena's return date was May 24. Counsel sought an extension for complying. After initially denying the request, the government offered counsel an extension for complying with the subpoena until June 7. As DOJ describes in the June 3rd meeting that Trump's side has been leaking about relentlessly, Jay Bratt and 3 FBI agents showed up and met with Evan Corcoran and Christina Bobb. Notably, DOJ makes no mention of Trump's presence at that meeting. That doesn't mean Trump wasn't present, but Department of Justice is certainly not repeating the tale that Trump waltzed in to the meeting just before he left for Bedminster to meet his Saudi buddies and told DOJ they could have whatever they wanted. Department of Justice does not confirm that happened. Corcoran then handed the documents over in a folder appropriate to the treatment of classified documents and, as DOJ notes, made no claim about executive privilege, even though less than a month earlier he had made expansive executive privilege claims in communication with acting archivist Deborah Stidel Wall. Then Christina Bobb handed over a declaration. Based on the information that has been provided to me, she said, I am authorized to certify on behalf of Donald J. Trump the following. A diligent search was conducted. Boxes were moved from the White House to Florida. The search was conducted after receipt of the subpoena, and on and on. And then Marcy says, after Bobb handed over the declaration, based on information that has been provided to me, Corcoran separately made a representation to FBI agents that it would be false a representation that would be subject to false statement charges under the law. So she goes on to pick apart everything that has been going on with these lawyers. If no one told Trump, if no one told Corcoran about the stuff in Trump's office, and if all other classified documents had been moved out of the storage room, he may have believed the following to be true. All the records that come from the White House were in one location. The boxes in the storage room were the remaining repository. There were no other records. All available boxes were searched. It's possible, Marcy writes, that Corcoran was a victim of a ruse by his client, Donald Trump, and his client's flunkies. After all, they had only recently joined Trump's defense team, although I'd been representing Bannon for months. DOJ, from their surveillance video, would likely know if Corcoran knew his claims to be true or not. But given that Corcoran refused to let the FBI open any of the boxes, DOJ may have reason to believe he knew some of his claims are not true. Now, here's the great part about this article. It's not just how Marcy writes it, but it's then the reaction in the comments. Here's one comment. The DOJ filing certainly seems to suggest that attorneys Bob and Corcoran are potential witnesses and targets of the investigation. As I mentioned in another thread, this situation usually inspires a prosecution motion to disqualify conflicted counsel or a hearing into potential conflicts of interest. For non-lawyers, it is a conflict of interest to represent a client where the attorney is also a witness or a target in the case. There is a whole procedural litigation process to sort out these conflicts. We'll see what happens here. And then Marcy replies to that, saying, this filing may have been meant to push that, but can they file before they actually bring charges in any case? And the commenter replied, a client is entitled to unconflicted counsel at every stage of the proceedings. In fact, potentially conflicted counsel have a duty to notify a court that such a conflict exists once they become aware of it. Has there been full disclosure of the conflict to the client and a waiver by the client? Would an attorney want to rely on disclosure and waiver with a client who has been proven particularly litigious? In any event, once the potential for conflict has arisen, the motion to disqualify can be filed. The district court is on notice of the problem due to the content of the pleadings. She may decide to take this up on her own. We'll see. Another commenter says, I find something else odd about the Bob declaration. As noted, it says, based on the information that has been provided to me, is the quote. Well, now, if for some reason the declaration wasn't going to be signed by someone who participated in the necessary searches, then surely it should have indicated, at least generally, the source of the provided information. Or is there some legal convention that such declarations mean information has to be provided by the relevant client? Another person asks, or was Christina Bob thinking, well, the paper only asked me to sign based on the information that's been provided to me. It doesn't ask me to sign based upon other facts I know to be true, such as my own personal observations. So, on that narrow basis, I guess I can sign it. And it goes on and on. And on. And we're not done with this topic yet, but it's time for another break. We're returning in a moment. And we're back for break. I'm David Bowles, and this is Bowles.tv, BOLES.tv. And we're talking about NFTs and contracts and crime and the boiled frogs that may be Trump's attorney. Frogs sitting in a pot of water that is then heated up and they don't know they're already dead because of things they have done and perhaps things they have done that were misleading. But the most interesting thing about Marcy Wheeler and Empty Wheel is her complete and utter disdain for the New York Times as a reporting agency, especially Maggie Haberman, who seems to cover Trump and who appears to have a very deep conflict of interest in writing about Trump because it seems like she's very friendly with him. And that causes problems in reporting, as this morning Marcy points out. And she's been talking about this for at least a week, that the New York Times does not want to use the word obstruction. They use different words. And she doesn't understand why they don't use that word, because that's the crime that is allegedly at hand with Donald J. Trump. So Marcy says, congratulations to the New York Times, which has gotten through another story about an investigation into violations of the Espionage Act and obstruction without mentioning either. This time they call it the trouble brewing in Florida. And then she quotes this, but department officials are not expected to file charges immediately. If they do, says Julia Ioffe. Sorry, what? She replies. And Maggie continues. Marcy continues about Maggie. Once again, Maggie, whose coverage of the Mueller investigation falsely claimed Trump was only investigated for obstruction, won't say the word. And now another person replies, saying Scott Jennings was just on CNN using this quote and saying, see, it just isn't that serious if the New York Times is questioning whether DOJ will even indict. I got more PO'd at the New York Times than I ever have. Now that quote is why I have stopped watching CNN. I've gone back to MSNBC because CNN now wants to be Fox Light. They used to be more on the liberal side. Now they have a new manager controlling everything who comes from CBS after Jeff Zucker was ousted. And this guy wants more conservative voices, some people say more line voices, on CNN. So they appear more, I guess, fair and balanced light, become Fox News light. That's the future of CNN. And by God, one of the reasons why I stopped watching was Scott Jennings. He's always on there, defending all this bad behavior. From a MAGA, from a Trump, from a GOP, everything's just fine. And it's so disingenuous. I cannot believe they're putting him on a news show. Someone else says, I expected this the moment I saw Maggie Haberman's name on the byline. Not a real newspaper at this point. Others say you should probably give up on the New York Times, as the rest of us have. It's very sad. It used to be the paper of record. Another person comments, I just hate that they were often the target of TFG, this effing guy, in his statements, Donald Trump. And I have to agree. JFC, Jesus effing C, it is just crazy. Another person says the New York Times loves passive voice, or rather the passive voice is loved. Who is it that expects the charges won't be brought imminently? Don't worry about it, just presume they are right. And now we go to Lawrence Tribe, law professor, Harvard. I believe Merrick Garland was his student. And so he has been commenting on this and on Merrick Garland and on Trump for a long time. And this is what he said about an hour ago. The refrain of Trump's reporters, he's quoting here, "If they can do this to Trump, they will do it to you," unquote. And Lawrence Tribe says, well, that sounds a lot like a threat, but it isn't a threat. In fact, it's a 1,500-year-old democratic promise. And that is the point of it, isn't it? Oh, if they can go after Donald Trump for lying and espionage and obstruction and violating the Espionage Act, well, if they can go after him and you do the same thing, well, then they're going to go after you. As Lawrence Tribe says, that's the point of a democracy. Everybody's equal. No one is above the law. You break the law, we're going to go after you. And as Joe Scarborough said on this morning show, he said, oh, I told Mika last night. I said, okay, this filing from the DOJ at midnight is very bad for Trump. He's off his neutral point. And retweeting, I guess Trump was retweeting all last night on Truth Social, all of these QAnon conspiracies. And Joe said to Mika, look, in the morning, we're going to hear about two things. We're going to hear about Hunter Biden's laptop, and we're going to hear about all the immigrants coming over and invading America. Because that's what the Republicans do, to change the topic. And Joe said, sure enough, woke up this morning, front page of the New York Post, run by Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox News, is, oh, we're being invaded by all of these illegal aliens. You can change the tune, but you really can't change the topic. And this is all over the news, of course, today. This incredible Department of Justice image of the stuff in question that they took from Donald Trump. And they say that Trump is very clever if he's the one who packed these boxes, because he mixed everything together. Like you can see the Time magazine covers here. So he would mix in personal things like passports and then a secret document on top of that, and then, a recipe on top of that, and so on. So it looks like he was just, packing indiscriminately. And oh gosh, look, I thought I was packing my Time magazine cover, but it was really a secret document. Because if he had separated everything into personal and highly secret stuff, then people argue that is an indicator of guilt. Oh, what are you hiding? And the fact that the Mar-a-Lago people are saying, oh, we had everything stored and locked, which is kind of a half-truth, a half-story. But if that is their story, then that appears to be an indication of guilt, that you knew you had things that did not belong to you and that were dangerous, and that is why you put a lock. And some people say they were instructed to put a lock. Other people say there was no instruction because that's not how you secure documents, but that's what the Mar-a-Lago people said they were going to do. Oh, it's only getting started. So interesting. Hey, in other news, ranked choice is very interesting when it comes to elections. And some people really like that. You pick your first, your second, your third person, that if your first pick doesn't go through, you would like this second person to be your representative in an election. And some people love ranked voting, and other people are very upset about it. So this article deals with the novel voting system that could sink Sarah Palin's comeback, and the fact that Sarah Palin's former in-laws donated a whole bunch of money to her opponent, makes it very clear where they stand on who she is as a human being. In Alaska, ranked choice voting has opened up the chance that bomb-throwing conservative Sarah Palin could lose the state's special House election. Alaska's experiment with ranked choice elections will determine whether Sarah Palin becomes a member of Congress on Wednesday. And advocates of the system are already plotting where to expand it next. Though ranked choice elections can take time to tabulate because you're not just picking a winner and a loser, you have to figure out who got a first vote, who got a second vote, who got a third vote. Alaska's about to be decided special election was held more than 2 weeks ago, with mail ballots filtering in slowly since then. It's a pretty simple process on the front end. Voters rank candidates in order of preference instead of just picking one. If no candidate receives a majority of first place votes, the remaining ballots are reallocated from the lowest performing finishers to second or third choices until one, hopeful, secures more than half of the vote. Complicated, but interesting, and democratic and super fair. Hard to game a system when you have to rank people. The system becomes a favorite of election reformers looking for ways to boost less extreme office seekers. In Alaska, ranked choice voting has opened the chance that bomb-throwing conservative Palin could lose the state's special House election. And then this article very interestingly goes into what's happening in Nevada, because Nevada wants to have ranked voting as well. So it's interesting to see, and it's supposed to be announced today, what in the world happens in Alaska with Sarah Palin. Is she going to win or not win? Already, the Alaska system may be insulating GOP Senator Lisa Murkowski from partisan blowback over her vote to convict Donald Trump on impeachment charges last year. 3 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump went on to run in partisan primaries in 2020 and 2022. All of them lost. But Murkowski did not have to face GOP voters in a closed contest because of the new voting system instituted in her state of Alaska, and she's favored to defeat a field including a Trump-backed challenger in the November ranked choice vote. Very interesting stuff. It will be interesting to see what happens in Alaska. Sometimes you get what you ask for. Sometimes you don't want it. Before we get to Ali Reza, here's a very interesting article. Hit this morning, 5 lies that Home and Garden TV has been feeding viewers. Now, there are people I know who love to watch these home shows where they're buying houses, they're remodeling houses. I have a friend, I used to teach with him, who went in and had them come and fix up one of his rooms. And it was very strange, and I know him very well, and the whole thing seemed very phony to me. But I guess he got his basement redone for free. While HGTV wants you to get lost in the latest episode of House Hunters, you may be surprised to know these episodes are in fact at least partially scripted. And they are scripted. They have to be. There's no surprise. They know everything that's happening. When they start filming the show, they already know which show the person picked. And we know which house the person picked because it's the house that's full of furniture and that has already been decorated. That's where they're living. It's their furniture. But then they go and they pretend that they're looking at two other houses. And that's okay. That's a scripted show. These are not reality television. There's no reality in reality television. It's all scripted. So according to Cheat Sheet, house hunters make the agent look like they're these lazy people who show two houses and negotiate $1,000 off the asking price, rather than showing the whole host doing a good agent performing their duties. So they think that's a little misleading. Another thing is overemphasizing the importance of new features. HGTV shows make a production out of showing homeowners frantically searching for the perfect home with all the must-have features. In fairness, sponsorship from the latest and greatest in home innovations is how they make their money. Also, downplaying the expense of renovations. If you took what HGTV shows to the heart, you'd be inclined to believe that major home renovations can be completed in mere hours for a few $100s. If you've ever seen Property Brothers, you know the brothers function on extremely fast renovation schedules and very low budgets. This is likely not the situation you're going to encounter if you renovate your home. That's true. Also, you have to add in an extra 15% on any quote you're given because they're going to go way over budget no matter what. Remodelers say that shows such as Love It or List It and Property Brothers often cram whole house remodeling projects into too small budgets, giving clients the wrong impression regarding pricing and time constraints. One couple who appeared on Love It or List It is suing the show's production company, stating that their home was irreparably damaged and that a licensed architect was not hired. That's a problem. But you probably already signed away your life. Location, location, location. In one episode, a couple chose a home because of its stylish features, even though it meant they would have to make a 45-minute commute to work. While everyone is entitled to make their own choices, it's a good idea that you should make your client drive not so far to work 3 days in a row to see if they would still enjoy the location of the new home. So what that means is, if you want to live there, practice first before you make an offer on the home. Drive that 45 minutes there and back 3 days in a row and see if you can put up with that every single day of your working life. That's a good point. They're saying location's important. Buyers know more than some may think. Contrary to what HGTV would like you to believe, buyers are not naive. For the most part, buyers are real-world savvy and have a good idea about what they need and the price range they can afford. This is the age of digital technology, and most buyers are putting that technology to use, researching before they buy anything. It's likely done to make their professionals on the show, HGTV show, seem more knowledgeable. But in reality, the buyer and the consumer is very savvy, and that's not really shown very well. Buyers have a lot of confidence now. They know what they're doing and what they're getting into. So there you go. If you're a fan of HGTV, know what you're getting into, because the details are going to confuse and submit you. And now we're taking a very brief blood pressure break, returning in one moment. And we're back from break. This is Bowls.tv, BOLES.tv, Bowls.television. And oh boy, history was made yesterday, and it's something that needs to be celebrated, and we're going to celebrate him. This is Alireza Firouzja. The title of the article is stunning. Firouzja wins the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz with 4 rounds to spare. Shocking. Now, Alireza Firouzja was supposed to be the person who won the candidates, and that Magnus Carlsen would then play for the World Championship. Alireza did not have a good candidates trial. His GM advisor says he doesn't know really what he's doing when it comes to playing serious chess. He said Alireza is very smart. He's young. He's like 18. He's very smart, but he tries to trick you. And when you're playing lower-rated opponents, you can trick them, you can dazzle them, you can confuse them. But when you're playing high-class caliber levels of other GMs, the best from each country, you're not going to fool them. You're not going to trick them into falling for your trap. They're going to see it coming, and they're going to block you, and then what are you going to do? Well, it seems like Alireza had a conversation with himself and returned to his form as the young, super upcoming genius talent in chess. There was no stopping Alireza Firouzja at the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz tournament, as the 19-year-old won the event with 4 rounds to spare. In his first ever participation at a tournament in St. Louis, Firouzja finished with an astounding 26 out of 36 score, 5 points ahead of second-place winner Hikaru Nakamura. The youngster gained over 100 rating points in Blitz, which is massive. He now sits at a stratospheric 2902.6 FIDE rating, which prompted him to climb to second place in the live ratings list, only 6 points behind Nakamura. So there's the young man in his t-shirt, his Nike shirt, holding up his win, his winning chalice. And here, keeping a promise, Alireza wants to do well. He wants to play well. The Grand Chess Tour tweeted, Alireza said, I could reveal a secret now that he won. It was my promise for a long time. If I come to St. Louis, I will win my first tournament. And he's asked, to whom did you make that promise? And Alireza replied, to myself. Beautiful. And he really played a stunning tournament. He went in there and knocked everybody out from day one. And there were outstanding players there. Fabio Caruana was there. Hikaru was there. MVL was there. Hikaru in his beautiful pineapple shirt. I love it. Aronian was there. Aronian, Fabiano Caruana, MVL, all having a good time. And they're dressed down, right? These are dressed down. Fabiano's wearing a nice jacket. Hikaru likes to dress down. And it was just an amazing comeback, an amazing championship. So Alireza Firouzja, look out. This is who Magnus wanted to play. And Magnus has said, I'm not playing in the World Championship because there's no one of my generation who interests me. I don't need to prove myself to them. He wanted to play the next generation, meaning Alireza Firouzja. But he didn't qualify for the candidates. So Magnus said, well, okay, I'm not doing it then. And now in the spirit of Alireza Firouzja, We're going to create disdain and not even a little bit of wonder by playing a little bit of not Bobby Fischer chess with your friend and mine, Ringo Starr. No, not Ringo Starr. Mr. David Bowles of Bowles TV, BOLES.TV, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Well, yesterday we had a little bit of trouble with our chess.com board not showing. I think I fixed that, and we're going to find out in a minute. But anyway, here is our Chessable test. Now, Chessable, great place to learn. They have a very dramatic, I'll say, what do they call it? Trainer? Where you can buy books, and they train you on the moves, and if you don't make the right move, they make you make the right move. And then you're supposed to go back and review it, which I never do. I keep pressing forward. To learn from your mistakes and to memorize all the things you need to remember. Okay. I don't remember a lot of things. So in this chapter, mate involving discovered or double check. So a discovered check is when you move a piece and, oh, look, you've moved your piece and the opposing king is in check. Or you move a piece and the king is in two checkmates from two checks from two different pieces. And you have to figure out how to get that to happen. So I'm going to try that. Now, the second I click on this, a timer starts, which is why I'm hesitant to click on it, because I have to get my mind right. And when I play offline by myself, I get 100% every time. And when I play online here with you, I often get 0. I don't know if it's nerves or trying to explain myself to nobody, but it's a problem. So here we go. Now what are you going to do? Where's the king? All right, there's the king I'm trying to check. I'm playing white. These are my important pieces. This. Okay, so if I move this, if I move my rook, that will not be a discovered check. Meow. So I could move this rook to here, but that's not really a discovered check, but I don't know what other chances I have to... I'm running out of time. See, my thermometer's going down. I have seconds to decide. The trick with these puzzles is always to try to put the king in check. So I'm going to try that, see what happens. And it usually doesn't go well, but there's no queen on the board, which is usually what they want. Incorrect! Same idea, just moving the rook in the opposite direction instead of over up to put the king in the check. Okay, so now they're going to make me make the right move, which I will happily do. And now I have to move again. Now this will be interesting. This was going to be a double check, okay? So this will go here, put the king in check here, right? And then, because this rook is being moved, there's going to be a discovered check here from the bishop, which is a discovered check and also a double check. And then where will the king go? I don't know. Because the king could go here and get out of trouble. I'm running out of time, so I have to do something. So I'm just going to move this here because I think that's the game. Okay, so 2 new moves. My accuracy was 50%. Terrible. But I'm not doing another one because if I got 0 like I did yesterday, I'll do another puzzle. But 50%, half, I'll take it and run. Hey, here's today's chess.com puzzle. Now I have modified my screen, as I understand it, that we can see the whole thing now, at least a little bit. Okay, it's good enough. It's good enough. Okay. Yesterday we couldn't see one row, but this will do for now. Let's see what the title is. A Reversal in Fortune. Okay. They always give you a little clue about exactly what's going on. A reversal of fortune. That sounds very complicated to me. And I'm playing black, obviously. So, I'm playing black, right? Yeah, black to move. So, that means that is the object of my desire. And I don't have a lot of pieces to work with. I have a queen here. I have a bishop here. I have 2 rooks. And a knight. The knight is sort of stuck. Bishop is sort of stuck. This all is looking very dreadful to me. But if we get stuck, we can get a hint. And the hint will help us. And then if you really get stuck, it'll tell you what piece to move. And we'll move the piece for you. So they always like you to attack, and they always like you to lose your queen early. So that becomes the question. You could go here. What does it get you? It doesn't get you anything. Nothing's put in danger. They like you to put pieces in danger. You could go here. That doesn't do anything. Although that takes. Queen takes. Not that interesting. But I know they want you to attack. A reversal of fortune, which sort of, to me, suggests that you're sacrificing something. Like you're giving up your queen. Well, I'm just going to make a move because I don't really know what to do. That's not the right move. So it's not a queen move because that's really the only place the queen can go. I don't think it's a knight move. The rooks are blocked. The rooks aren't going to go anywhere. So is it a bishop move? You could go here and put pressure on the rook, but that doesn't really put the king in any sort of danger. I will try. No. Okay. Give me a hint. It's a knight move. Working on the knight moves. Not with Bob Seger. So, where are you going to move it? You cannot move your knight here or here, I don't think, because then you'll be taken. Taken. So it's got to be a move here, which doesn't make any sense because the queen will just take. So it's, to me, it has to be a move here. Now you could move here and upset the queen, but then I don't think that's the move. But I don't know what this gets you anyway. But I'll do it, just see what happens. No. So it's here. Oh, painful. Have I told you this is not Bobby Fischer chess? This is not a la Reza Fauruza chess either. Now what? What did that get me? The queen moved back 1 space. So the knight moves here. Doesn't make any sense because the queen would take. The knight could move back here, but the queen would probably just come back down. So is it some sort of move like this? The queen backing up? I don't know. I really have no idea. I'll do it. Ooh. Now, if we could just end the puzzle there. I'm at 50%. But the puzzle continues. Now, what are you going to do? Well, I want to take the queen, of course. But is that the right move? Is there a better move? Because sometimes things hide from you. Because if I go here, then the queen would just take. I get nothing. If I go here and take the queen, then I get the queen. I don't think I want to leave it there. Because then the queen will take my bishop, and then the bishop will take my queen. So it's got to be this. Terrible. Ridiculous and terrible. So this was not a puzzle about putting anybody in check or checkmating. This was a puzzle trying to figure out positions, which are the worst kind of puzzles because it's only about making the best move, and it's not a tactic to try to put the other king in check. A little painful. So we've got 2 right and we made 1 mistake. So that's 1,000,000% right. Hey, it's good enough. Well, what a wonderful show today. I had a long talk about NFTs, about Trump, about the legal profession, Alireza Farouja, and a little bit of terrible chess. What more do you want? So if you have any questions or comments, you can email me, David@Bowles.tv. Questions and comments for Jana Marie. She is Jana@Bowles.tv. On Twitter, we are @DavidBowles. Super follows to follow. That's where all the fun is, my friend. On Facebook, we're BOLES, Bowles. Instagram, Bowles Books. Tickensy Talkensy, Bowles TV. And if you'd like to join our Discord server, you may. Please show up, have fun. We're there looking for you. And here's the rest of our social information. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, a great nap, and a wonderful awakening. And when ye shall rise again, may your soul be filled with joy, anticipation, and fond memories of where you were and what you accomplished when you were 19 years old. I'll see you tomorrow.